What's up, everybody? It's Vicious here, and Anubis back again, twice
Yo,
in a
yo,
row.
man,
You know what I'm
feels
saying?
good.
Yeah. And we're gonna kind of give a follow up to what we were talking about a couple days ago, actually. So, a couple days ago, we were talking about representation in the industry, and by the industry, we mean like anime, video games, all that good stuff. Um, and I came across, well, technically two tweets. One tweet was from the Mighty Keith. You know, if you know him, he's a pretty funny guy, pretty funny YouTuber, and he games as well. And he has a lot of stuff that he posts concerning video games. You know, a lot of it's about console wars and stuff like that. It's pretty funny. But he said, and I'm going to quote the tweet because I don't know if I'm going to be able to actually edit this to the point where I can put the tweet in there. He says, "Gender and race swapping as an effort to make things more diverse has always been incredibly cringe to me. It's pandering, plain and simple. Make better roles for people." He says or color, but he meant of color. If the writers in Hollywood can't do it, it's time to look for better writers. And he says this because Daniel Craig, who I guess is under some sort of fire um, from these made up people, because I don't know anybody who's like really taking it that seriously, says that he says that he's a James Bond actor, and he's been like the longest running James Bond actor as far as I know. He's been in it since I believe Casino Royale or something along those
Yeah,
lines.
he's been at it a while.
Yeah, and I don't really keep up with James Bond like that, but yeah, I think he's still current James Bond. He says that a woman shouldn't play James Bond, but instead they should make a character that's better than James Bond. Or, in my interpretation, I think he means better or as good, because
Right.
I don't think you should like think that everything's just going to be better just because. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. It's weird. Um, as good or better in my head, but he says better than James Bond, and I think that's a pretty good statement. It makes a lot of sense to me that you want to make a better character. I mean, personally, I think a good character to compete with that would be Tomb Raider, but they always mess the Tomb Raider movies up, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and that's not through some sort of like transformation of the character. But what do you think about all this so
Um,
far?
I kind of, I kind of agree and disagree with both tweets. I mean, well, with both statements. Uh, my issue with Mighty Keith's tweet is that I mean, it's not. I don't think it's such a big deal to race swap some stuff. You know what I mean? Like James Bond, for instance, is a written character where I think he's supposed to be like a certain nationality, yada yada yada, whatever. But at the same time, like he's saying, a woman can't play James Bond because I mean, who fucking names their daughter James? But back when they were talking about Idris Elba potentially taking his place or whatever, I had actually posted something on Facebook along the lines of, like if that's the case, don't make him James Bond, just have him replace 007. Make him the new 007. But
Yeah. Um.
um
Go ahead.
well, I mean, I was just gonna say, as a secondary comment to Keith's tweet, obvious, I would like to see um, more of us for like more ethnicities and like high fantasy settings and stuff like that. They do need to do a better job of including non-white people in other settings or in settings in general because hell, they're everywhere. And I mean, that's not to say that it's
Let's.
a bad thing, but like I said, like I want to see us fighting dragons and shit too.
Yeah.
More
Can
things
can
for
I
black people.
can I put something in there real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Um, just as a disclaimer, we don't hate white people. Like, just in case there's those people that are gonna listen to this, we don't hate white people.
Right,
Um, it's more of a thing of representation, like we've been saying, matters. You know,
right.
um, and like you said, it's hard for me to put into words how I feel about it. So I'm glad that Anubis could put it so eloquently. We want to see more of us in high fantasy. Having a black dude play Spike in the upcoming Netflix series Cowboy Bebop, the Netflix adaptation of the
Yeah.
popular anime. I like that because I always felt like Spike was a black dude. I don't know if his voice actor is black, isn't he?
No, Spike.
Not
Spike is
Spike.
being played.
Jet.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah. Jet is a black person in the anime. He's a black person in the anime in general. Like I think uh Watanabe himself says that.
Yeah,
Jet
I don't know why I
is
said
black.
Spike because I like
Spike is
Spike.
well, and Spike, yeah, Spike is damn, I forgot that quick the name of his voice actor. He's like my favorite one too. But
Uh,
he's voiced by
um,
a white guy. Stephen
he
or Steve
Stephen
Blum.
Blum. Stephen Blum.
Yeah,
He does Vincent too. He does Vincent. He does Tom from Toonami. Steve Blum
yeah.
is actually one of my favorites.
He's like everywhere, but he's great. He deserves that. So good for him.
Yeah, and
But he's being played by Harold or whichever one played whichever. I don't remember
really,
the eighth one. Yeah,
that's that guy.
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh man, yeah. And people are like really well. They were at first. They were really upset about it because he's best known for those roles. He's got other stuff out. He's pretty much like stuck in Robert Pattinson's place. Robert is a great actor. He's got
Mhm.
other stuff other than Twilight out, but everybody only knows him for Twilight.
Yeah, I
And
got you.
yeah, that's gonna be with him for the rest of his life, and he regrets that poor bastard. But I
I,
mean,
you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? I mean, it's a popular series. You know.
yeah. So I mean, like he's still getting paid off of it. So I mean, that's good. I just he hates the movies, and he hates that he did the movies,
Yeah,
and it's an understandable situation. But at the
yeah,
same time, I do feel bad for him. Like I said, that's what people mainly know him for. He's great in all of his other roles too, though.
right. Um, I don't mean to like try and switch the subject, but yeah. You mentioned the whole thing about the high fantasy. Like, yeah, it is really nice to see us. It's nice to see other people. Um, and I don't think that it's pandering when it's something that's imaginary anyway. You know,
Right.
like for instance, I could talk all day about how they changed. Did you watch the Castlevania Netflix series?
No, I never did. I gotta watch it. I got it on my list. I just need to actually watch it.
I think it is very good. Actually, it's one of my favorites ever.
Right.
But um, and I'm not even that huge of a Castlevania fan, but I there's a character on there in a video game where he debuted. His name is Isaac,
Yeah.
and he's a white guy. You know, they had him in the Netflix series as a black dude. He's not only black, but he was a slave, and I forget what his religion is called. He's like a Sufi or something along those lines. I forget what it is. Like I feel bad, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's like a
I mean, I
middle.
don't even know what it is at all. So I mean, I'm sure if somebody wants to comment in the comment section what the religion is, and they will.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, he's a really cool character. I don't know how he is in the video game, but I have a whole new appreciation for the series and the characters because of just having him on there. I think it's really interesting having him. You know,
For sure. Yeah.
and uh, something I don't think I'll ever understand is how certain groups of people just think, "Oh man, that is still not good. Like it can't be good." You know what I mean? Because they changed the character. It has to be because they tried to pander to somebody. It has to be because blah blah blah. Like I just don't understand that.
And I
Um,
mean, even if it is like pandering, air quotes here, to get more people to appreciate their art or whatever.
mm-hmm.
Like it's not like it's a hateful kind of pandering. It's not a Trump rally.
Yeah.
Like it's a good thing. It's fine to include people, and like I know we're going to talk about it here in a second, but I'm just going to go ahead and bring it up. The whole God of War thing. I don't remember the female's character, but I'm not talking about her yet. This is something that literally just popped into my head. Kratos ain't white. Like it's a Greek thing, it's a Greek game and all that shit. But if you watch the cutscenes
He was tan
about,
skin, wasn't he?
yeah, he's tan as fuck. More than tan, he's got black in him. Him and his daughter. His wife is white. But if you look at like some artwork and stuff of him and his daughter, they're both black
Okay,
or
because
some
I
type of Middle
um,
East.
I don't know terribly a lot about the series. Like I knew that his skin was like pretty dark and everything, but I didn't know if he was like actually black. I didn't know if he was tan or I didn't know if he was like of a different ethnicity, like somewhere closer
Got to
to
be some
Greece.
kind of Middle Eastern because
Right. Yeah.
and thinking about it too, like Assassin's Creed Origins, fucking Egypt and all those and Greece are like right next to each. Like it's all really close together.
Yeah, you gotta
So
believe me. I was actually kind of good. I was actually kind of nice at like history and geography when I was in school, but all that stuff went out the window. So I didn't even really think that. Oh man, yeah, Egypt is around there. Yeah,
man, I like
and they did
it's
take
all popping in
slaves.
my head right now as I'm
They
thinking about it. But
they
it's
they
like, yo,
they did take slaves over in Rome and I think Greece as well, right?
yeah,
Yeah, so like it's possible. You know, there could be descendants. Like some of them were free, some of them earned their freedom, um, and so on and so forth. But yeah, in regards to the chick you're talking about, or what you're leading up to, Angraboda, I believe that was her name.
right.
Um, Supposed to be the bride or lover of Loki.
Hmm.
Yeah, see that I said it in a comment, but I deleted it because my grammar was fucked up. Not my grammar, but I typed something extra and I didn't like it, so I deleted the tweet.
Right.
But here's the thing: there is there's a lot of things said about Jesus, you know, and I'm
Right.
sure you being another black guy, you've heard all of it. Jesus
Yeah.
has been described as a dark skinned man, or at least very tan.
Woolly hair and all that stuff. Yeah, they
Yeah,
describe him in the Bible as a nigga. if
yeah,
we're, we're trying to if we're
exactly.
getting into it,
They describe him that describe they describe him as a person of color, and or at least black. They describe him as African, basically. And in most depictions that you see in public, you'll see that Jesus is actually colored white,
yeah,
and that is something that has been washed through history, and that's something that's been, um, you know, changed through bias, maybe.
right.
I can't say I don't understand it because I think it's a power dynamic type thing. It's weird, but I
Yeah,
think that's
for
what it
sure.
is. But
Yeah,
I'm agnostic, meaning or at least I think it means that I'm not a person that's going to say something exists for certain or not.
right.
There may be a God, there may not be. I'm just at peace. I'm more of a hopeful agnostic. Maybe there is a God. I hope there is one. I hope there is an afterlife.
You believe in a higher
Um,
power.
yeah. Um, but this is like an atheist approach to things, and I hate when people do this. They are getting all bent out of shape on Twitter for something that may or may not have ever existed ever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? For as many, edgy atheists as you see on Twitter, Facebook, and all this, there's a lot of them that are mad that Angraboda is black,
Right.
and it does. I can't see where it makes any rational sense. You know,
And it
like
it makes even less sense. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off,
Go
but
right ahead.
I've read a couple of times, like there's nothing in Greek mythology that actually describes how she looks to begin with. So
Yeah, I mean,
they can make her whatever race they want to make her. Number one, like for extra, you know. Number
yeah,
two, even if that wasn't the case, it's a video game.
yeah. Like the whole pandering conversation is really cringe sometimes because it's like, even when it comes from somebody like Mighty Keith, it's like, there is a certain amount of things that happen in Hollywood that might not be agreeable. You know,
Right.
um, I don't think personally that Avatar, for instance, I could be wrong entirely, but when I watched Avatar, I didn't really think of water tribes as being like at least not Japanese, you know.
Right.
But I think Japanese people are casting as like the characters, if I'm not mistaken,
Uh,
the
I
characters
don't
from the water tribe.
I I don't know. I think they were supposed to be more like Inuits, right? That's what
Uh,
I felt like anyway.
that's what I thought too, and it could be like maybe the creator had some input, maybe he didn't because Aang was like white in the last Airbender movie, wasn't he? In the first one,
Yeah.
so I just don't know, but
They were all white in that last in the last Airbender movie.
oh
They
really?
completely
I
fucked
thought
that up.
Zuko was
Yeah.
like Indian.
No, they no.
See, that's
They
another thing. Look at what they do to these movies, and they people want to talk about pandering. Like when your whole movie gets casted as white people and the source material is like indicating to some sort of Asian bloodline, be
yeah.
it Pacific Islander, Inuit, or whatever. Like I don't understand how they don't see the hypocrisy. Because if we said something about something like that, you know, it would be a whole big thing. But when they say it's like, oh, just water off a duck's back, whatever, they're pandering. They're pandering because they want black people to buy it. Like, motherfucker, I was gonna buy it regardless because they made Angrabota black. That means nothing to me. And people are actually they were talking about I would rather have the mod of her being white. Like man, you're such a loser. You're such a
It's
loser that you want that for this character that you know is a fucking character. You know,
right.
like there's nothing. It'd
It
be like they think like Angrabota is like fucking Christopher Columbus or some shit. That's what they think. It's nuts.
it another argument, that just popped into my head. What if, like they'll do they'll do movies or whatever, and they'll switch up races of characters, but then they'll bring up an argument. Well, he did a movie about Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and made them white. Number one, motherfucker, those are real people.
Yeah,
So do some dumb shit like that if you want to, but I mean, see where that gets you.
exactly.
But
So
it's like we said in our last pod, it, people just don't make sense.
yeah,
And it kind of bothers me that fact does because, like, obviously we're sitting here, we're talking about it, we're bothered by it. And it's something that I would have hoped eventually I wouldn't feel so bothered about. But I know that it's something that I'll always be bothered about because people just fucking suck, apparently. I just
no kidding.
it it shouldn't hurt to care this much.
Right. Hey,
It
by the way,
shouldn't be a bother to care at all.
yeah. Hey, by the way, if my thoughts are a bit disjointed, is because I'm playing Deathloop. By the way, I'm playing online, so you
No,
know,
you're good.
yeah, um, yeah. People are, we're supposed to be the fucking snowflakes or whatever. Like, I don't understand how people get so fucking hurt over like the smallest fucking things.
over
Like,
skin tone.
yeah, that's a small thing for like a fucking made up character. Like, come on, man, be
Right.
better than that. Just be fucking better. Where the fuck is this guy at? Sorry, this multiplayer is like unbalanced as fuck, but it is kind of fun.
Yeah. No,
Eh,
and I mean the fact that they get upset like that over characters, and then they'll, man, people are just fucking unstable. Like they send death threats to people over small shit like that, and then like even outside of like games and what should be fun consumable media, like real life situations, like there's job discrimination and just discrimination in general. Like you're willing to ruin somebody's life and possibly end it because you don't like the way they look.
yeah,
That's damaged.
it really is, man. It's fucking nuts, and man, like I'm sort of getting tired of talking about it, but it's just gonna keep happening.
Right.
It's gonna keep happening. It's just a bunch of fucking knuckleheads. People don't want to fucking just grow a fucking thought at all.
Right.
And
Anybody listening, that just means it's either this or Final Fantasy VII talk. Every pod, you don't get a choice.
yeah, exactly. Man, it just made like when I see stuff like that on Twitter, I just think like fuck, man, like really,
Yeah.
like this is what we doing now? Y'all can't just let her be Angrboda, just be Black Angrboda. Like is that fucking bad?
And speaking of that and Final Fantasy VII, I don't know if you saw anything about it or not, but people were being weird about Barrett's skin tone. But I
Barrett's
think it
always
was,
been black. Fuck him.
yeah. But I mean, like, I think it was like a thing with like the lighting in the picture because he didn't look as dark as he is, and people were kind of like, "Oh, he looks white there," yada yada yada, which he didn't like at all. He like
Bar-
even with the light hitting him weird and all that other shit. Barrett has never looked black. Like even
it never look
as a
white.
bunch
You
of
mean?
polygons on PS1.
You mean never look white, right?
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
But man, it's weird, and it's weird to see how many people are like that in, I don't want to say just the gaming community because it's more than that. It's everywhere. It's just weird to see how many people are like that in general when it seems like 99% of the people that you see online when they're not on their troll accounts apparently are screaming, "Oh yeah, racism is bad." And it's weird to have to go back and be like, remind everybody like, "Hey, this ain't the move."
Yeah. Man. Oh man. It's just so much stupidity in the world, man.
It's crazy. I don't know. Oh, and you were talking about not picking up a game or picking up a game just because it has black characters in it. I have said before, I will buy games because they have minority groups in it.
Hmm.
I will do that, and that doesn't mean I'm gonna not buy other games because it's just white people. But I remembered saying that on another pod, so I wanted to get that out there.
Yeah. Um.
Appreciate, like you were saying earlier, I appreciate being represented and stuff. And it's nice seeing other cultures and races represented and stuff. It's not just black people that I'll buy games for. If you've got cool Asian shit and stuff like that in a game than that, I'll buy it and I'll play the shit out of it. If you've got cool Indian stuff, Raji, I've been playing through that. Great game.
What's that about?
Visible, great game. Uh, there's a few of them that they're great, and they won't get. I won't say they don't get the type of fame, for lack of a better word, that they need, because I think they did pretty good. Raji could probably use a little bit more exposure, but I wish that it would help with more developers or more games like them that have that kind of content,
Yeah.
because there's definitely stories in there about like Indian or Hindu mythology, Egypt mythology. Uh, uh, if playing through God of War and Hellblade, if you play those games and like you're knowledgeable at least a little bit of other mythologies, like you at least know that they exist.
Mm-hmm.
That makes me curious about the rest of them. Just playing through those two games, you know. If that doesn't do that for you, then I don't know. And like you don't got to be like, oh, I just have to learn all of this about them all now. But to say, you're not at least a little bit curious about other things, that's literally closed-minded of you. Like, why are you even? Why? What are you doing here?
I
You're
don't know,
playing
man.
to like literally expand yourself or to get away from like normal shit that you deal with on a daily basis. And instead of, going back to school to learn about these things, you have an opportunity to do it in a fun way, or at least fun way, that you can see it. And you have a problem with black people being in a video game. It's weird. It doesn't
It
make sense.
it
You
is.
refuse to learn about other things that you would probably love because one person's skin tone. It's not even a main character.
Yeah. Um, we talked about this before, but I've kind of been in that position because of Neo One. But that's like a whole. That's a whole big thing. I just don't. A Japanese game with a lot of Japanese lore having, a white guy as like the fucking basically the king. He's not a king in the game, but he
He's that
he's the
white
main.
savior trope. Yeah,
Yeah, he's yeah.
that's what turned me off from it. That is one game I couldn't play through it like at all. Neo 2 is fun. I'd play it,
Yeah.
but just playing as William in the first one was a complete turnoff. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, cuz like it's just why do you like like I look at Ghost of Tsushima and I'm like, "Damn. Ghost of Tsushima was tight."
Yeah,
It was Japanese. Director's cut even made lip syncing for Japanese voice acting.
yeah,
Um, I guess it's debatable if it's good or not. I haven't had the chance to play it because
right.
September is fucking booked up. It's like two more games I need to play. Kenna Bridge of Spirits just came out,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
and Melty Blood's coming out. So I'm out of work because I'm on FMLA, and it's like, damn, the fuck. There's a bunch of shit I want to buy. I gotta be a responsible adult and shit. But yeah, man, I going back to Neo, I just oh man, Ghost of Tsushima. I'm so glad they didn't
One,
pull
it
that.
made sense of him being there, but like, what was the story for him being there? Like, he
I
got like
I
shipwrecked or some shit, or it was something stupid. It didn't make sense for him to be the main character.
I don't know the story too well. I only played the beginning of it when I was at basically an ex friend's place. Um, but it seemed like I guess they were on a ship, and I think this was in the beginning of when guns were being invented. You know what I mean? Like, because they used to have ships deliver weaponry to Japan during the period of like the feudal era. I think it's
Okay.
called when Oda Nobunaga and shit got started.
Right.
Um, so basically, in that time frame, I think that that I think it might have been a ship delivering some weapons, or maybe to like talk to the country, and he did get shipwrecked if I remember correctly, and that's basically it, and then he goes to this entire country just whooping ass, becoming a proficient ninja, fucking proficient, you know, magic caster, He
Right.
knows all the fucking language, the spells, like that
Makes
shit.
sense.
I'm not saying it's not possible, and it's a little hypocritical of me because I love when black people get into that shit. But with
I
Neo,
mean,
I'm tired of that space being taken up by white people. Like it's you get enough, and I've said this on a previous pod. You get enough of that shit in anime. There's blue-eyed, blonde-haired characters that don't look a thing like Japanese people. They don't look a thing like any Asian person. Even when Asian people put hair dye in, they don't look that way. But they do it that's pandering to pander to the Western audience, you know. And we see that with Dragon Ball Z. They turn Super Saiyan. What happens? They get hazel green eyes and blonde hair. Like I think Super Saiyan 4 was my favorite just because it wasn't that, you know,
right.
growing up. But I'm sorry, you tried to say something. And I think I just went on.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say, it wouldn't be so bad if William being the main character and getting all of the skills and stuff made any kind of sense. If they'd have done that with like Yasuke, I mean, you like that made sense, especially knowing what little bit we know about Yasuke. Like he served under Nobunaga and stuff. Anyway, like he has a reason to know all, or at least some of that stuff. He's a legit samurai,
Yeah,
and
and
he
he was
understands.
and he was a Neo too,
Right,
but he was just like he was an NPC, and he only knew two disciplines. He knew how to use the sword and the I think it was the axe. And it's
yeah,
like here's William. He can do anything. He's a
right,
he and he
for no
and gets
reason.
and he gets a lot of lines.
Right. It didn't make sense. Not to me, it didn't.
Yeah,
And maybe if I play through the game, they explain it, or they'll have some way of explaining. I don't know, but like you said, I only played like the beginning of it, and immediately I was like, yeah, this ain't gonna cut it, because
yeah,
it's not. No, didn't make
yeah.
sense.
I think we both made Asian characters starting out too. You know.
Yes, I had to. I couldn't, and especially I think it bothers me more because me, I'm all into story and stuff. So especially them not making sense with the story, it just didn't work.
Well, the characters that make your
Like I said, Neo 2 is a great game, and that's Williams in it, but he's not the main character.
yeah. Um, what was I about to say? It actually makes a lot more sense that you make the character Asian anyway because um the two characters that birth your character are Asian. They're Japanese. Well,
Right.
one's a demon, but it's a fucking Japanese demon. Like, don't be a prick. Some people might be like, "Well, that's a demon. And the demon's white. The skin is pale, but that's not a
Right.
a white person."
Right.
Uh,
It's Japanese folklore. Like still, no matter it's Noni.
yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Fucking Neo. I actually want to play a little bit of that. Um, did I tell you that I basically rolled all my characters um into one character? I'll say that for all off of this. I don't know. I think I said about all I could say, which admittedly should have been better. But I'm trying to like beat these people at this game. I'm gonna like stop playing games on the pod. I'm just gonna have pre-recorded footage.
No, I mean, I think we've said all that can really be said, and like we said the last time we talked about this, it'll come up again later when another group of people gets mad at another character for being the wrong shade of blue or some shit. I don't know, but
Yeah.
it'll come up again later,
Yeah. Of
and,
course.
and we'll be saying all of this same stuff again later. So,
Yeah.
like I said, everybody, it's going to be this or Final Fantasy VII talk. There is no in between.
I think it's just gonna be this and Final Fantasy VII talk. No or just and.
Right.
Yeah. But that's all for now, guys. If you enjoyed the pod, Please like, share, subscribe. Get us to at least 500 subs or something, please. Uh, we out.